Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, I am coming at you with another parenting related topic video. If you're interested in these types of videos where I talk about different topics related to parenting, then please check out the playlist that I have on my channel. I just started this recently and I have other topics that I talk about over there. And if you would like me to talk about a certain topic that I haven't covered yet, then please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your suggestions are and then make those videos. And as well, please subscribe if you are not subscribed already, and let's get into it. So today in this video, I'm talking about how to deal with difficult family members as it relates to you as a parent and your kids. That whole extended family, close relative dynamic. Now it is the holiday season and many of us are spending more than usual time with our family members. And this doesn't just have to happen during the holidays, but I know especially during the holidays can be really, really stressful because you are interacting with family members maybe that you don't normally interact with, or you just have to interact with difficult family members even more so just because it's the holidays. So the way I'm going to format this video is I'm going to talk about examples, what exactly I'm talking about in terms of dealing with difficult family members, what that actually kind of looks like and what it means for some people, and this is just, you know, a few examples. And then I'll talk about how different people, or how I think different people address the issue, and then I will give my personal approach and maybe advice. And take everything I say with a grain of salt, and by no means is this necessarily comprehensive of everyone's situation, but this is kind of one perspective. My perspective. Okay, so talking about what I mean by dealing with difficult family members and how it relates to you as a parent and your kids. So an example might be, you might be teaching your child about setting boundaries around their personal space. You want to teach them that they have self-autonomy over, you know, what they do with their body, how they want their body to be treated with others. So let's say you might have a family member who expects your kid to, you know, greet them with a hug or say goodbye with a hug and a kiss and things like that. But let's say your child is not really comfortable around that family member quite yet, and they don't want to give them a hug or a kiss. So it's this, you know, this clash where the grown-up or the adult expects this from your kid, but you want to teach your kid to that they have autonomy over their body. So that is one example of an issue that between a family member and your kid. Another example might be, let's say you have a family member who is staying at your house because they are out of town and you are letting them stay in your home. And let's say they begin to kind of interfere with bedtime in the sense that maybe they feel like it's winter time and it's cold, and maybe they feel like your child needs a blanket when they are put down for bed. But your doctor and pediatric societies and studies have recommended that children under a certain age should not be sleeping with blankets because of suffocation, blah, blah, blah. But a family member will have it in their head that they need a blanket because they will be cold. And you might explain to them, look, it's not safe for them to be sleeping with a blanket. That's why I put them in layers of clothes. That's why that's why I give them a sleeper and things like that. So that would be another example of having to deal with a difficult family member. Another example might be food. Food can be a huge source of stress and anxiety as it relates to people interacting with your kids, because let's say a lot of times I think grown-ups and family members, etc., try to connect with the kid, your kids, any kid, through food, and food like sweets and junk food, desserts, all those kinds of things to kind of make the kid happy and to kind of bridge a relationship. What's really interesting is I've been watching a lot of adoption videos lately, and on gotcha dates, which is the day that the adoptive parent picks up the child, in pretty much all of these gotcha day videos, I've been seeing the adoptive parent immediately upon, upon picking up the child and things like that, giving the child a lollipop. I don't know if that is an adoptive world type thing, but I've noticed that. And it kind of makes sense because it's a very anxiety producing situation for the child, and having sugar, giving the child sugar, or any human sugar, honestly, it kind of helps ease them, it kind of soothes them, it makes them a little bit happier. That's what sugar does to our bodies. So anyway, back to a potential issue is when a grown-up family member is feeding your child foods that you don't want them to be having. And that could be junk food, it could be desserts and sweets and candy and all those sorts of things. And I can go on and on about issues that can be, that could come up between family members and your kids and you as a parent, but I'll try to limit it to actually two more. One is, another one is maybe you don't want to share your child on social media, and then a family member takes pictures on social media and shares it publicly anyway. That could be a cause of an issue. Another cause of an issue that could maybe not be directly related to the child, but you as a parent, could be, let's say you are a mom and you are working, and let's say you have a husband who's also working, and maybe a family member might say, hey, I don't think you should be working anymore because you're the mom, shouldn't you be at home with the child, taking care of the child? And you might not feel that way. So that could also be a cause of stress or issues between family members and you as a parent or your child. So all of these types of things can be a source of stress and frustration and anger and anxiety, etc., between family members, and I'm going to label them difficult family members, and you as a parent, and then your children as well. I think there are a few different approaches that people take when it comes to difficult family members as it relates to your own family. One side of the spectrum is just try to limit contact and do your best, bite the bullet and just do the best that you can, having to deal with these difficult family members, and just maybe try not to spend as much time with them, or during the, it could be just the holidays, just bite the bullet and just deal with it. Another school, somewhere in between, might be also the same thing, just try to bite the bullet, but also try not to put them in situations that would cause the thing that you don't like. So let's say let's say the issue is hugging upon saying goodbye, or hugging while you guys are hanging out. So maybe put the baby in the baby carrier and kind of don't let that situation kind of happen. And then at the other end of the spectrum is just don't put up with it. Just address it head on, or simply just avoid it altogether. So address it head on being address the family member, let them know what your concerns are, what you don't like about what they're doing, let's say to your child, or the way they're treating your child, or maybe even the way they're treating you. And if they don't listen, then just don't spend time with them. So this issue is somewhat near and dear to my heart, and it's not near and dear to my heart, but definitely something that I've had to deal with for a long time, since my first child, actually. And my philosophy or advice is on this side of the spectrum, which is to address it head on, and maybe the other party doesn't, maybe the family member just doesn't know, so you need to try to give them a chance, and let them know how you feel, let them know their boundaries and things like that, because you are the parent, and that is really important for you to know. You are the parent, these are your children. If they want to have children, or if they have their own children, they can raise them the way they want to, but as a parent, you should have authority over your kids. That is just my opinion. So I do think that you should be direct with them and say, hey, look, this is what I need. This is how I'm raising my kids. These are the boundaries that I put in place for my kids. I do not want you to put a blanket on my baby because I don't think it's safe. If my child doesn't feel comfortable giving you a hug, then I want you to be okay with that, because I am teaching my child that they have autonomy over their own body. Just simple things like that. It doesn't have to be confrontational. It could be just like, look, this is how I'm trying to raise my kid, and I need you to understand that, and that's basically it. And then if you give them a chance, or maybe even 2 chances, or even 3 chances, and they still don't do it, it's still causing you anxiety and stress, frustration, anger, etc., then be like, look, I've told you this several times already, and you are not listening, and I'm sorry, but I have to not let you be around my child anymore. And I think that would alleviate pretty much all of your stress, in my opinion. Not all of it, obviously. There's going to be tension, and you'll probably have to interact with this person sometime or another, but I think it would take a huge burden off of that, avoiding that situation. I remember taking kind of like a class on an assertiveness class, and I think it started with like ABC, where it's basically like the way you talk and interact with people to get your point across. And I remember that an example from that class was like, it had to do with, an example case would be like, had to do with dishes. So it had to be like, when you leave, like, hey friend, when you leave your dirty dishes in the sink, it gets me really upset. If you continue to leave your dirty dishes in the sink, then I'm just going to have to throw them out. You know, so there's like, you know, an affect, like the way you feel, behavior, and then consequence. So anyway, that is how I feel about dealing with difficult family members. Just don't. Or let them know how you're feeling, and let them know the situation so they're not completely in the dark. Give them a chance. But if they continue to not be able to behave appropriately around you or your kids, then just don't hang out with them. Life is too short. And also the other thing is, family is not, I'm a big proponent of family, but family is not necessarily the people who you are blood related to. Family are people who love and support you. And if your like family or blood relatives or whatever cannot respect you as a parent, and then cannot respect your child as well, then just don't hang out with them. I'm curious to know how you feel about dealing with difficult family members. How do you deal with difficult family members? What is your recommendations on dealing with family members? Please leave it in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you are not subscribed already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.